Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to learn 12 important legal and leadership lessons from the movie 12 Angry Men starring Henry Fonda. 12 Angry Men is an American courtroom drama written by Reginald Rose about the jury of a homicide trial made into a movie produced by Henry Fonda and Reginald Rose and directed by Sidney Lumet. The movie, as the title suggests, revolves around the jury of 12 angry men in what appears as an open and shut murder case as they deliberate the conviction or acquittal of an 18-year-old defendant accused of first-degree murder on the basis of reasonable doubt. The groundbreaking beauty of the movie lies in the fact that the entire movie is shot in a single juror's room. The introductory scene is one long shot. The opening sequence in the room is meticulous in its movement, descending from a high-angle shot to document various interactions within the room. The movie is an example of an exceptionally brilliant camera work, given the constraints of an enclosed space. Now let's look at the 12 important legal and leadership lessons from the 12 Angry Men. Lesson 1. The element of reasonable doubt. This is the central theme of the movie. The question of life and death of a defendant hangs around the element of reasonable doubt. A lawyer should have an open mind which allows for and explores the possibility of a reasonable doubt, as instructed by the judge. One man is dead. The life of another is at stake. If there is a reasonable doubt in your minds as to the guilt of the accused, then you must bring me a verdict of not guilty. If, however, there is no reasonable doubt, then you must, in good conscience, find the accused guilty. Following a heated debate, Henry Fonda points out, saying, "But we have a reasonable doubt, and that's something very valuable in our system. No jury can declare a man guilty unless it's sure." Lesson 2. Courage to stand alone. Henry Fonda was the only juror among the 12 to vote not guilty. A leader should have the courage to take a stance and stand his ground even if the odds are 0 to none. Henry Fonda displays remarkable courage and conviction despite being ridiculed and despised. The courage to stand alone means stepping out of the herd mentality and getting your point across in the face of opposition. All the great leaders like Dr. Ambedkar, Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, and Abraham Lincoln, who were also great lawyers, had the courage to stand alone in the face of storm. Lesson 3. Value of human life. The most important human right is the right to life and liberty. Every nation's constitution upholds the value of human life. When a young man's life is at stake, one has to leave no table unturned to safeguard the value of human life. As Henry Fonda asserts, we are talking about somebody's life here. We can't decide in 5 minutes. One of the most powerful statements made by Henry Fonda when he says, "There were 11 votes for guilty. It's not easy for me to raise my hand and send a boy off to die without talking about it first." Lesson 4. Innocent until proven guilty. It is better to let 100 criminals go free than to imprison one innocent man, said Benjamin Franklin. The fundamental duty of a judicial system is to serve justice and to safeguard the life and rights of an individual. In a society of criminals, an innocent man should not go to prison. The concept of reasonable doubt is founded on this very principle. Lesson 5. Circumstantial evidence. Circumstances may accumulate so strongly even against an innocent man that directed, sharpened, and pointed, they may slay him, wrote Charles Dickens. Although all the unchallenged evidences point towards the guilt of the defendant beyond any reasonable doubt, it requires careful consideration and re-examination, as circumstantial evidences alone cannot be used to incriminate the defendant. As Henry Fonda suggests, there was a lot of circumstantial evidence, but actually those two witnesses were the entire case for the prosecution, supposing they were wrong. Lesson 6. Knowledge of Science. As the murder case unravels in the jury room, Henry Fonda, being an architect by profession, uses a scientific reason in solving the crime by using the architectural design of the defendant's apartment to examine the accuracy of the old man's claim. Scientific knowledge can be a valuable tool in the legal profession. Lesson 7. The Art of Persuasion. One of the most desirable skills of a lawyer or a leader is the art of persuasion. As portrayed in the movie, Henry Fonda exhibits exceptional persuasion skills to influence and change the opinions of the 11 jurors. One of his most persuasive remarks is when he questions, "Do you really think the boy would shout out a thing like that so the whole neighborhood could hear him? I don't think so. He's much too bright for that." This makes the others rethink the validity of the claim made by the witness. Henry Fonda succeeds in persuading all the 11 jury members to vote not guilty. That is an astoundingly remarkable feat. Lesson 8. Knowledge of Psychology. Knowledge of the human behavior will help the lawyer in assessing the veracity of the claims made by the defendant and the witnesses in the court. In the movie, Henry Fonda wins the trust and favor of a fellow juror by accepting his offer of a chewing gum, thus gaining another vote of not guilty. He also uses his knowledge of the human behavior to provoke the most repulsive and grumpy juror number 3 to react and get him to say the exact words which the witness claimed to have heard the boy say. Knowledge of psychology can be a very helpful tool to a lawyer. Lesson 9. Keep your composure. Throughout the movie, Henry Fonda maintains a calm and composed demeanor, while Juror 3 remains agitated and reactive all the time. It's a well-known fact that the human brain works best when calm. Henry Fonda was able to think through the facts clearly because he was level-headed all the time. Research shows that the prefrontal cortex, which controls our emotional response to stress, regulates the amygdala, which tells the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal HPA axis to secrete the stress hormone cortisol, which helps the brain to think clearly, sends energy to important muscles, and increases the heart rate and breathing, which helps one fight a stressful situation like a criminal trial. Lesson 10. Stay focused. It requires one to stay focused in order to achieve the desired goal. A focused mind not only thinks its way through confusion and chaos, but can also generate solutions to seemingly impossible problems. Juror 12, who works in an advertising agency, is caught doodling through the debate. Juror 7 comes across as an impatient, highly distracted, sarcastic salesman who seemed to be more interested in a ball game than the fate of a boy whose life's at stake. Only Henry Fonda, Juror 8, stays focused throughout the deliberation, and with his focused energy and intelligence, he convinces the other 11 jurors to vote not guilty. Lesson 11. Eye for Detail. The oldest of all jurors, Juror 9, is smart, intelligent, and observant with his years of experience and wisdom. Juror 9 is the one who takes the discussion forward in favor of the defendant by drawing everyone's attention to the nose marks on the woman who testified against the boy, suggesting that the woman without her glasses wouldn't have been possibly able to see the boy stab his father. The old man's observation was the most important and the most strongest point for a reasonable doubt. The wisdom that comes with age and experience is a valuable asset in any profession. Lesson 12: Human Dignity. The most beautiful and iconic direction in the movie is the last scene, when Henry Fonda removes the cloak from the stand and puts it on the most antagonistic juror after he almost loses face when he had to vote not guilty under duress. J Cobb's brilliant performance as an angry father of an estranged son should have won him an Oscar. The thoughtful gesture of Henry Fonda helping J Cobb in putting on his cloak is a respectful gesture of restoring the man's dignity despite their differences. With its brilliantly written script by Reginald Rose, exceptionally beautiful cinematography by Boris Kaufman, superb direction by Sidney Lumet, and astounding performances by J Cobb and Henry Fonda, 12 Angry Men is nothing short of a masterpiece. I hope you found my video interesting and informative. Thank you.